Tell me what it was like when he first walked into the gym. How old was he? More importantly, how big was he, Steve?
He was 6'4", 14 stone at 14.
Wow.
So he comes in the gym with Shane, and I just thought, Jesus, size of them, you know what I mean? Walked in, started hitting the bags and that, and I thought, God, he's moving great, you know what I mean?
Straight away he was doing it?
Yeah, straight away I thought, he's moving all right. You know, a big gangly kid, he wasn't built at anything. So I just went up to him and said, what's your name? And he said, Tyson. I thought, yeah, okay, walked off. You know what I mean? A bit later on, I said, what's your second name? Fury. I thought, believe it. I mean, I met John years ago in the 90s when he'd been at on one of our other gyms training, but I didn't know him, you know what I mean? But didn't know he was his son and anything like that. And I just said to my dad, heavyweight champion of the world. My dad said, he just walked through the
told your dad straight away?
Yeah. I said, heavyweight champion of the world. He said, you just walked through the bleeding door. I said, Dad, there's something about that kid. I thought he was about 17, 18, not 14.
Had you ever seen a boy that young, that big before?
No.
So even though, okay, so he was
always going to be an heavyweight, wasn't he? Was
yeah, of course, yeah.
Get your attention straight away, the size of him.
And what was it like trying to get him fights? Because when you're 14, 15, as you said,
couldn't get him fight for 2 years. He didn't
really?
have his first fight till he was 16.
And how was he on his first fight night? Can you remember?
Great, he handled it well. Yeah, he's always been confident. You know what I mean? He's just a good lad. You know what I mean? Good lad to work with, train with, to be with. Just a great lad. But I love him, obviously. Don't I like? I've known him forever, Anna.
So what was it like back then with him going, suddenly going to a proper amateur boxing gym, trying to get a fight? And did he fall in love with the sport? Was he a kid that came back and instantly plastered his wall with pictures of boxers from the time?
No, he was always into boxing from as far back as I can remember. He used to sit and draw pictures of boxing rings. Men were shorts on, boxing gloves, 2 men fighting. And I always knew he had something there, but when he got to about 8, 9, 10, he just got full on. Then everywhere he wanted to go was a boxing club. He couldn't pass a sports shop. I used to keep him quiet, so I'll take you to the boxing shop and buy some.
To buy him something to do with.
I'll get you a bag and I'll get you food, this, that and the other. So yeah, he's always wanted to do it. And when he first went to Steve's place, I didn't even know where he kept going. I said, where's he keep going, a young lad like that? So he's probably got a girlfriend.
Yeah, didn't tell me, did
anyway, didn't even
Is that
tell
why he
me.
didn't tell you he was going to the gym?
Because I didn't like the boxing, because I got abused in boxing.
Yeah.
I got short notice fights, I got put in late notice, I was just there to be beat up on basically. I never made any money. So I thought, I don't want my son to be mixed up with that same carry on. But anyway, it just went on and on and on. And I think you phoned me, didn't you, say, is it your boy? Come and have a look at him, didn't you?
He's fighting in 2 weeks.
He's fighting in 2 weeks. I said, what? Next thing we're all cramped in a minibus, flying up to Warrington on the A1, aren't we? The army barracks.
And a lot of time spent in minibuses and cars. Not just slapping over around Great Britain, but slapping all over Europe, slapping everywhere.
What about 8 countries? John driving to 8 countries.
We
To
drove
Serbia.
to
Go to Serbia.
From here.
No.
Yeah. Because I said, I'm not flying because I'm frightened of airplanes. So I said, right, we'll drive.
And a black Focus, won't we?
Black Focus car.
He's driving, I've got the map. I don't know why we didn't get a European sat-nav, but...
Did you do it in one go as well?
Done it in one go, didn't we?
Get in!
And we got back quicker than Tyson in an airplane.
Got back
We had a
20,
football-
was it 26 and a half hours?
26 and a half hours and about 50
non-stop.
cans of Red
To
Bull.
Serbia!
50 cans of Red Bull, won it, foot to the board. We only stopped for diesel.
Yeah?
We got out of the car, you couldn't move for cans of Red Bull, could you?
Yeah.
Oh, what a trip that was.
I felt like I
it
was
was
drunk
brilliant.
for a week when I
I
come back.
bet you slept for about 5 days.
Do you know what? It was one of the best times of my life. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was only me and him. When we
Well,
got
wasn't it?
mugged at the border with a border control,
Well, that's
didn't we?
it, yeah.
And they charged us 500 quid extra.
Got just complete bogus. They basically just robbed you.
He said, where you from? I said, from England. He said, what are you doing here? I said, we've come to watch the boxing. He said, you're crazy, you're Englanders. He said, you come all this way in that vehicle? I said, yep, that vehicle. Well, he said, €500. I said, you can't do that, pal. I said, we've got insurance, we've got the green card, we've got everything we need. I said, you're putting it on us. He looked at me like that, and he looked at me and you, didn't he? He said, Croatia that way. No boxing for you unless €500.
Yeah.
I got my wallet out and I give it to him, Steve. I said,
You weren't happy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
big bugger, I said. Anyway, I say on to the fight. Anyway, we jumped on with the England squad, didn't we? Got a 5-star hotel for out.
Yeah, it's great, yeah. Done well there, didn't we?
Do well.
There for a
One
week.
door
for
closed,
free.
another one open.
Another one open. Let's talk about once he got to that level, 17, 18, and he's fighting for England, and he started to make a name for himself. Again, he's starting to cause a few ripples. And then he has that fight I mentioned with David Price at the Withenshaw. David Price is already a seasoned man at that point, and he's a big guy as well.
Gold medalist, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a big boy also.
Yeah.
You know, suddenly he's the same height, same sort of dimensions as Tyson.
Yeah.
What was that like that night?
I think the occasion got to Tyson. The only time I've ever seen it happen. You know what I mean?
Really?
It was white, it was pale, and I think there was 300 people locked out of the phone and we couldn't get in.
No, I heard about
sold
it.
out.
Yeah, I remember. I
The
remember it
coaches
clearly.
come from Liverpool. There was all that needle. Price Fury. He'll beat him easy, and I said he won't. I told Alan Lynch, Price's amateur coach,
From
said
Salisbury.
Tyson will beat him. No, pricey. But anyway, it come a bit too soon, I think. But he had to go in it. The senior ABAs, he had to get past Price to get there. So he lost on points. It was close. Tyson dropped him in second. You know, the rest is history, basically.
But an important fight at that point in his career.
It's a massive fight for him with just 8 fights, just 18.
And
Yeah, he's total novice, wasn't he?
Yeah, of course.
And what about once he turned pro and the sort of the hullabaloo, you know, the sort of publicity, and there was an awful lot of people expecting an awful lot from him. What did you honestly think, Steve, at that point when he's starting to turn pro? He's still only a baby, and he looked like a baby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you think he could genuinely go as far as you predicted when he first started?
I've always believed in Tyson, always. Day one. I know he's got balls of a lion, that's the first thing you need. I remember he was on an England camp years ago when he was about 17, 18, and he'd been there over the weekend and come back Monday. He was gutted, he said, Steve, he was laughing at me, I said, why, what are you on about? I said, we had to write down what do you think a boxer needs first. And there's, you know, people like George Groves and De Gale and all, they was all in the same camp, you know what I mean? So they're putting like speed, agility, power, skill. Tyson put heart and they all started laughing. Said, Tyson, that's the first thing you need. You can't put that there. You can teach someone everything, but you can't teach that. If you ain't got that, you're finished.
And that's what he put
that's
on the
what
top of the
Tyson
list. He's also had some trouble away from the ring. You know, he's had some issues that he's brilliantly overcome and brilliantly highlighted. When you sit down, when you're with him, because you're from such a long time ago, how is he when you sit with him?
Great. He's always been great. You know what I mean? When he was a kid, though, he had his ups and downs. You know what I mean? Did doubting he could do it. And I said,
doubting himself.
I just swear at him. You know what I mean? And say, shut up. I wish I was as as you are. You know what I mean? No, the odd time there, Shane got the better of it. It's smart. I said, listen, no one moves you like Shane. You sparred him from being a little kid.
Yeah, he knows what to do.
One day he's going to get everything right. And this is one of them days. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm going to be world champion. I can't beat a 2-fight novice. Just tell him, shut up moaning. You know what I mean?
Looking at it now, there was the fights with David Hay that didn't happen. And I think personally, I know we were talking about that with Derek, I think they really got to Tyson, the fact those two fights didn't happen. I think he was really looking forward to them, and I think they were fights that he thought would maybe change his life because of the money that was involved.
When he was a lad, I said to him, you know the one you've got to beat, you get the country behind you. He said who? He said David A. He said,
this is when he was a lad?
I said David A. He said, David A's a cruiserweight. I said, he is now, mate, but he's going to move up for the money. I said, he'll be, because they all love him. He'll be the one you've got to beat to get the country behind you. And that's before, you know, Joshua come along and all that. Now, so maybe that stuck in his head as well. You know what I mean?
Steve, when he came back and he had to lose all that weight, you know, 8 or 9 or 10 stone or whatever, and we need to get his head in the right place. Were you concerned then that, you know, when he suddenly got Deontay Wilder really quickly, were you concerned? Not because you didn't have faith in it, but that you maybe thought it was too early?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit quick myself. Yeah. I did. I thought maybe a warm-up for 2 first. Because it's the most dangerous puncher in the heavyweight division, isn't it? Yeah. It still is.
Yeah.
It can still bang, can't it? You know what I mean?
And what did you think, Steve, in that last round when he goes down in the first fight? When the whole nation holds their breath watching, what was your gut feeling?
I didn't think he was going to get up. You know, 5. He got to 5, didn't he? Then Tyson just went 6 and jumped up. And then pushed him back for the rest of the round.
Won the round. That remains, I don't know about you, John, I know that, you know, I've lived it a million times. I was there. I know you've lived it a million times.
Yeah.
I can't stop watching that. It's like it's like your granddaughter taking her first steps. I can never get tired of watching that.
I think I broke 2 TV sets watching the repeats. No, listen, it was a brilliant night. You know, probably one of the finest performances from a British fighter overseas, and to take a major title like he took. You know, so yeah, but you're going to have somewhat similar in a few days' time.
Yeah, that's true. When we get
So
over
you're
there.
going to have somewhat similar again.
So, Stephen, the point I'm going to get at is that after the first one, when I'm with you, I think it was too early, even though it was legendary and brilliant.
Yeah.
I still thought he won on the night. I thought he won quite clear.
Yeah. He did.
Going into the rematch, I'm assuming you thought he would win
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because he was different. Head was a different place.
Yeah. Yeah. He had more time. He weren't getting the weight off. He could concentrate on the fight, couldn't he?
You know when you sit at home watching it, right? You're sitting there, you've got your wife there, and I don't know how many of your family are around you. I don't know whether you've got a pint of beer, I don't know if you've got a cup of tea.
No,
and
no, beer, definitely.
Yeah. Try and tell me, try and capture the pride that's in you as you're watching this big gangly kid that you first saw walk through the doors in your gym, hitting a bag with some big jab. Try and capture that pride for me.
I can't. It just gives you goosebumps. I can't capture it. It's just love him like he's my own son. And I know he's not, but you know what I mean. I put that much into him and been round him that long, and just love him to death. You know what I mean?
Honestly, but he's passionate about it.
I'm trying to make him cry, John. I'm trying to make him cry.
I've started crying then.
Yeah, I've had him crying. I want you crying.
Tears coming out. Yeah, Fred,
No, we have
appreciate
to-
that, Steve.
Yeah.
I felt mate, I must appreciate it.
Because I'm not being funny. If I watch the last round of the Vlad fight, I well up. And
Yeah.
I'm working. You see me at ringside.
Yeah.
I'm working for 5 Live. And I well up. I'm getting emotional now. I well up watching that
But
last
you have
round.
always believed in Tyson, haven't you?
I have
from
always
the
believed in
beginning.
him, yeah.
I thought he was getting robbed.
And you have.
I thought he was getting robbed. Thought that's a draw.
And so did I.
They're going to give a draw and he retains the title because we're in
Absolutely.
Germany. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was shocked when they gave it him. I was like, couldn't believe
Yeah,
it.
well, that's it. Well,
Yeah.
listen, there's a higher power, you know, and that's the main thing of all. Right's right and wrong's wrong. But we'll always have bad decisions.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Well, you know that better than all of us. I mean, some people that are maybe not familiar with the way the amateur system works, when you take 4 or 5 boys and girls to box on a show, you expect 1 or 2 of them to get stitched up. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
part
of
of
course,
it's
yeah.
part of
You're away
parcel.
from home. You can't leave it close.
So what about the rematch then? Tyson's away from home, although Vegas is now his home from home.
Yeah.
How do you see the third fight going with Wilder, Steve?
Tyson's going to win it, obviously.
Of course.
But I think he'll box his head off for a bit and then maybe stop him late. You know, it depends how much he makes him miss, makes him time. Obviously, Wilder's going to come better, I think. He's got a lot to prove.
Yeah, everyone seems to agree that Wilder will be better
He's
in this
got to
fight.
be. He's got
Doesn't-
to.
I don't see how he can be though, because he's
No.
took the main man out of his team. Mark Breland was a quality operator.
Yeah.
He's not there no longer. So he's listening to a man that knows a lot less than Mark Breland, and he's with a man still who was prepared to send him out and get him killed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, of course.
he's going to take that squad with him into the biggest fight of his life. But you know now, I think after Tyson's in the Usyk Joshua thing at the weekend, Tyson's going to be on the head movement more. He's going to take a bit more leaf out of Usyk's book, get the head moving, but he's going to pressure him. And I don't see him going past 6 rounds. I really don't.
It's going to be special in Vegas. Still, I've got to ask you this, right? If let's say you're out with your wife and you're on holiday, and there's 6 couples and you're all sitting around, you're having a really good time, you're in Tenerife or somewhere, and someone mentions Tyson Fury, right? Because they don't know you, you're just Steve
Yeah.
with your wife. What's your wife's name?
Yeah, Angela.
So it's just Steve and Angela. Oh, what a good
Who's
time.
your biggest fan, by the
Oh,
way?
listen, I knew I'd get it in, so God, I knew I'd get that out of you eventually. Top boy! I'll have that every day of the week.
Your missus is going to get jealous now,
Oh,
Steve.
listen, I'll tell her, don't watch part 2. I'll say part 2, that sounds terrible in part 2. No, so you're with a group of 7 or 8 people, and you've had a couple of drinks, and you're having a really good night. And someone mentions Tyson Fury. Do you keep your mouth shut? Or
Do we?
No, smart boy.
No, they're going about, oh, Joshua this, Joshua that. I said, listen, Tyson smashed Joshua. And that's before weekend and before,
Yeah.
Ruiz beat him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Definitely, all day.
Look,
I always said, the only one to beat Tyson is Tyson. I've always said it.
There's levels to this job, and Tyson is
He's gifted.
in the elite level, and
Yeah.
those boys ain't. They're just that bit short, aren't they? And they've proved it. You know, and I know they're all climbing over the Usyk win and all that, but when Usyk meets an elite fighter like Tyson, you'll see Usyk come up short and wanted the same way.
Tyson running over him like a truck.
Like a truck, he's too small.
Yeah.
Because you know how we work. It's intelligence brought to the ring. We'll look at Usyk for say 2 or 3 weeks on the trot, and let's just say, hang on a minute, let's just see, look at this and look at that, X, Y, Z, bump, 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 that's what we do. And Tyson can execute everything to the letter, can't he?
Yeah.
You can set a plan out for him and he'll follow it like a,
The thing is, he's adaptable. If that don't work, he can go on that. If it don't work, he'll do that.
said it earlier, he adapts as he's fighting.
Yeah, that's it.
Fluid.
He's very adaptable.
Changing gears all the time.
Yeah.
He's got 100 gears in his gearbox, when he's only man's probably got a 4-speed, you know, but he's thinking on the job, and that's what makes a proper champion. It's like the Canelos of the world, they think on the job. Floyd Mayweather, Leonard, Muhammad Ali, thinking on
The
the
very
job.
best have got
If
it.
you can't think on the job, and you meet a champion what does think on the job, there's only one winner. The man who can think and cover all avenues. One horse race. And Deontay Wilder, he's only a big puncher. He's not the most intelligent kid in the world, you know, he's not the brightest. And to be an elite fighter, you've got to be bright, intelligent, and think on your feet. And that's what sets Tyson apart from all of them. His intelligence. He can outthink them. And the heart of a lion to
Bags
keep
of
going.
it. Bags
And if
of
you
it.
can't nail him down with 46-inch nails, he's getting up, isn't he?
Well, they proved that, didn't they?
Getting up.
Proved that.
Yeah.
And I don't see another fighter in the world can do that. Look at him at the weekend in the 12th round. They even cut seconds off the round. I got it 7 or 8 seconds short. He deserved the TKO, Usyk. But listen, could you see him getting up flat off his back like that? No.
Yeah.
No. People like him come along once every 1,000 years, a one-off Tyson. I'm not saying it because my own son, and I'm not saying everything's a foregone conclusion because it's heavyweight boxing.
Yeah, you never
Yeah.
know.
You
course.
can have a bad night. It's like
Yeah.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, snooker player. You can go to the table one time, can't pot a ball, next thing he wins a world title. That's how it is. You can walk into one. But if everything's right on the night, Tyson's unbeatable in this area.